Hello, storytellers. It's Storytelling Ron. I'm pretty excited. I got to play my first game of For the Lord RPG as a player. And I want to just go through. I'm uploading the file now so you watch the actual show. But I'm going to just go through and blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah about it because I'm really excited. I'm really thrilled about what happened last night. And I'm really just thrilled. And Nick did a great job. And I'm excited about the game and how it worked for him and how he had the freedom to do what he wanted. And I just want to go through it and I'll just, man, I'm kind of still high off of it, you know? That's what we Christians do, man. We get high with no drugs. I mean, we just get high, although I do like my coffee and my wine. But I actually did end up drinking a really nice bottle of Pinot Noir last night. With the wife and singing Christmas carols on a karaoke. Got my new mic. So that was wonderful. The new mic is awesome because it showed us how terrible of singers we are. Yeah, but it just going to get better. I'm going to get another mic because my wife was hogging the good mic. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun, but I was just so joyful. But let me go to this. I think, yeah. Okay. So this is the show. Maybe you've already seen it or watched it. I don't care. I'm just going to go through bits, you know. Look at this. He just set up, this is the intro, and he had the music going. It was awesome. And he created his own music on the Foundry. And I'm going to, some accolades here to Foundry, although with reservations. It's Foundry is pretty woke. The Discord and all that. They believe in pronouns. They believe in the agenda of the LGBT, I guess, or whatever, compliance with it, which is antithetical to Christianity. So there's that. And the other issue about Foundry I'm concerned about is that before, I don't think it was like this. I don't know. But now, even though you pay $50 for it, you have to connect to their servers to just even run the game. You can't even, if you don't connect to them, you can't even run your own Foundry. So even though it's a one-time fee, I'm still a little concerned that you still have to connect to them to even if you've already created everything and you don't need anything else from them, I still think you got to connect to their server. So I will never rely on Foundry as my main thing for the game. It's very handy and I'm using it, and I use it even to make the maps. But I will copy off, I will take a screenshot of the maps and save it to my own folder. And it's easy enough, right? All of these pieces are modular. So everything he put in here was modular, to just place this church. And what's cool about this is that he actually went to Ireland, historical places, and placed, kind of did it based off of that. Or this one's in France. We start off in France and then go to Ireland. But I just love that he was able to put these maps together with the modular pieces I gave him, and he didn't have to go hunt down looking for different maps and different tokens. And I gave him enough tokens too for characters that he could just throw together, whatever. And so we had everything he needed in that little package. And these are all free too on my website. These modular pieces and the tokens, they're part of the game. If you get the game, these things are all there. And it's cheap. It's like $10. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but the tokens for the sci-fi IPOC one are, a ton of them. And it's I'm going to charge like $10 or something for the whole thing. And you get everything you need pretty much. I'm going to add more supplemental pieces, but they're going to be cheap, and I'm going to do a ton of them. And you have it all in one place. You don't have to look very far. You don't have to stress out or Google search or, take stuff off the internet. And you can rearrange it however you want. And he just had a great time putting it together. And Foundry for him, was simple enough that I showed him how to use it. Or no, I did not. He figured it out himself the hard way. But I did a video on how to do it and, and helped him whenever he could and whatever he needed. But there it is. So this was so much fun. He did this. I'm going to just scroll through real quick. Oh, another thing, yeah, and he because he based it off of history, and because the game, the Dark Ages, is kind of based off of history, you can, and if you're a dad, you can go delve into and look for sort of simple things, and I think that really would influence your kids to want to know more about Christianity, medieval history, and missionary work. And the entire premise, I'm going to say this, repeating myself over and over. Fantasy is storytelling, is Christianity. It comes from Christianity versus paganism. That's what fantasy is. It's the struggle of Christianity and paganism. Today, we have deluded ourselves into thinking that fantasy is just fantasy, because fantasy today is all pagan, and it teaches paganism to you and me. It teaches us paganism to our psyches, to how we interact with each other, how we fellowship, how our edification is all pagan. We have fooled ourselves by removing Christianity from it, and I'm now upset. I'm upset now that realizing I've been bamboozled. You've been bamboozled. We are ignoring history. We're ignoring true fantasy, the fantasy of the history of medieval history, which the indelible fact that Christianity has made the world better, has done away with brutal, cruel, pagan slavery and torture in the most horrendous and horrific ways. And the gladiators is just an immediate example. And I'm reading a lot more now about it. And the type of torture that pagans did was horrific. And I will say this about the medieval history where they have like torturing places. Remember this, most Christians back then were not very Christian. Like they knew the topical, but they didn't know the apologetics or the depth of Christianity. And so there was still plenty of paganism in the culture, pervading the culture. And remember, most of the masses, especially for the Catholics, were done in Latin, and many of the people didn't understand it. And they understood the sort of the Jesus being saved by Jesus Christ, or being glorifying or worshiping Jesus Christ. But there probably was not a lot who understood the apologetics, the equality, the forgiveness, the loving the enemy in the sense of treating them with integrity. They probably didn't learn a lot of that, for quite hundreds and hundreds of years. Because I remember, and I think it was Martin Luther, or it was during that period, one of the Protestants, did in the 14th century, I believe, did an actual sermon instead of doing the mass. The liturgical mass and the sacraments and doing all the rituals. He went through the Bible and did it like a lesson, and that freaked everybody out in a wonderful way, and they all loved it. And that became heresy or whatever, but that's what he did, and so he pushed that and became a Protestant, and that was a new thing. I think it happened though in the Dark Ages. I think back in the Dark Ages times, they did probably have a little bit more of that, and then when the Catholic Church kind of became more. I feel like from 1000 to maybe even today, but from 1000 AD on, the Catholic Church became more about the rituals and the mass service, and not about Bible study, which is, to me, what the important thing is. So for you Catholics, I know you love your mass and your rituals, that's fine, but get a Bible study going, like where you really study the Bible and you discuss it. That's the most important thing. I love Catholics, I love the Catholic Church and history, but plenty of problems and critiques and blah, blah, blah. Of course, with what the Pope has just said recently, I don't know, maybe I'll got to come to Reformed Baptist. Come on over, check it out. We believe in the Bible. We follow, we delve into it in the sermons plus in Bible study. You're going to get way more Jesus than you ever did in the Catholic service. Way more Jesus. Okay. Anyway, all right. This is my thing. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll through this. I don't even know where, a little closer up. And Nick did I really just was so impressed with what he put together, and he's got a wife, kid, and his wife Alicia here is playing. She was kind of conscripted. She obviously did a wonderful job. But they got 4 kids. He's got a job. He's got work. And he still put this together. And once I think he said, once he figured it out, it was much easier. Like once you figure out the foundry, the tools, and then once he knew all this, the stuff he had to work with, it was like a sandbox, and then he could just start putting things together. And I'll show you, like, I'll probably, I don't know if you've watched it, like he did this. Look at this, cool. The boat he grabbed from my thing, and then he actually changed it. He colored it and got rid of the white, but I keep mine simple. But he created this little thing, so we're traveling across the coast. And then, he grabbed one of my serpents and then enlarged it and did that to it. And I'm going to have to go just mention this. So this is my character, Theodosred. And Theodosred is, I rolled in the Dark Ages chart. Theodosred. I rolled 2. There was another one that was kind of weirder. I could have used it, but it was very hard to pronounce it. So, and then I did another one, Theodosred. I wanted to do two just on the two different charts, and I like Theodosred, so I chose that one. The other one was like Clearius, something like that. But Theodosred, I never would have come up with that name. You know, this is cool. And the names in the chart, the syllables, I all of those came from when I was reading the missionary stuff. Their names, and I broke them up. So all the names, like on each of the first levels, are actual missionaries or characters that I came from through the historical documents, and then I broke them up into the syllables so that you could then rearrange them and randomize them. Okay, so for this one, let me see if I can get to the right roll. Here I am trying to protect the others. Now, this is a nun and a cleric, and I did everything in my character to protect them, and I would protect the lady. I play the role who said, "Please, Sister Mary, do not come. I will protect you. I'm a Christian. This is a Christian role-playing game. We protect the women. We step forth and protect the women. We stand in front of any dangers and let the women be behind us for whatever's going on. That's what we do as Christian men." And that's what I did here. I went in front to protect the nun and Brother Elwin, since he's a cleric. And look at us laughing and having a good time, because this is a Christian role-playing game. Yet here we are fighting and having and doing things. Yet we're men and women. I am trying to be. I'm a cleric warrior. We didn't actually have a holy knight, which we did have a player like that, but he couldn't make it tonight. Well. This was a makeup night because the night before we couldn't play because of major technical difficulties. So we didn't have the actual night. And so when Nick put this together, he put it together, thinking we would at least have a knight. And I was going to be a knight, but then I relented so the other guy could be the knight, but he couldn't make it. So then I just kept my character. So we didn't really have a full-on the warrior class. And I want to see if I shows the dice, what I roll. Where it's got to be. Oh, there it is. Boom! That is my first roll ever in like 20 years. I think 20 years. I'm 54. No, 30 years. 30 years. I'm 54. I think the last time I played was when I was 24-ish, 25-ish, somewhere around there as a player. Post-college, I played a few with in the group that we had, but I ended up being the GM, but I would play a couple. But this is my first role as a player in 30 freaking years. A nat 1, and then I had the bonus die and the holy die. I had a holy mace. This is my skill. No, this one's my skill. This one was the holy die of me. I had 2 blessings, holy mace and protections, and I use my holy mace. I use two faith points, which gives me a D6. So in this game, in case you didn't know, you go from a D4 to D6, D8, D10, D12. That's the rankings, and the more faith points you put in, increases the die. So I gave myself a D6, 2 faith points of holy mace. Plus I rolled for I added another faith point to duration, and I spent 1 on D4, and I rolled that, and I think I had 3 turns on my holy mace. Yes! So here I am going to take care of this serpent coming through the water. And I'm so excited for my first roll ever! Boom! And I roll a 1-1. I am like, see that? Oh, man. So, I like what... If it's a 1 and a 1... That's like extra fumble. I was like, just kill me now, I assume my mace got in the wind and the water and gone, or my hammer rather. Because I said, it glows with the glory of the Lord, and of course but he had it so that the serpent actually bit the hammer and took it with him. So I didn't have a hammer. Lost my hammer, fell into the water. But I only had leather and a shield, so I assumed I could swim or whatever and get back on the boat. And then, of course, the nun had a rope. She goes, "I have a rope." So she, helped me get up, and thank you, Sister Mary. The serpent, thankfully, just left. The cleric used his staff to kind of fight it off, and it just left with my hammer. So look at this. He made a village. A freaking village. I'm so thrilled. I'm like, these are all the art assets I have. And he put together a village, and I'm just like, oh, and he had cool sounds. He did little village sounds. I mean, he got that off the internet, but the village, man, look at that. And then we go and talk to, this is actually St. Patrick. I forgot. He has the original Maewyn or whatever, the original Celtic or Celt name. Oh, it's Gaelic name. But it's St. Patrick, and I was making fun of that. But he told us to go do a mission, so, and I wanted to get a hammer, but of course this is a little quaint little village, no hammers here. I'm like, I got a stick. I had to borrow the staff from the cleric. And we could have interacted a little more, and done more here and delved into like helping this village out, helping his church out. And in the Dark Ages game, if you do a campaign, every time you help a church out, it kind of gives you blessings and bonuses and things like that. I offered to cook a meal, and this is a one shot, so we did kind of have to hurry it up. But I did say, oh, we should cook a meal for the locals and help with the church and roll for that and have the nun cook and I have some salt and But then he definitely, thankfully, he pushed us to move on with the story, and we have a little fun serpent encounter here. That was fun. Just a little, like fighting rats in D&D or whatever. So you get your own little serpents, of course, in Ireland. And we go along. Oh no, she's just rolling. Oh yes, she did get wounded, and I didn't protect her. This is another thing. I was so devastated that I did not protect her. I had a protection blessing, and I wanted to jump in the way of the serpent too. And we could have played that out a little better, I would say, for him and me, that you can try, with aggression versus aggression, or an awareness versus an awareness, or whatever the GM decides. Try to leap in the way of an attack, and whoever gets the higher gets to decide whether they block or get through. And we kind of didn't do that. And I didn't want to do hindsight either, so I because I forgot to mention it, and I forgot to mention the protections. I didn't want to do hindsight and play it back, so she got bit and with venom, and the brother Edwin went to help heal her, and I tried to finish off the serpent. And then she did get back up, and she used a blanket and threw it over the serpent. So the women in this game do not have battle axes. The women in this game do not have freaking upper body strength. And for anyone to make it like they do is ridiculous. Yet she was in the game the entire time. She did a rope to save me. She threw a blanket down here. She got bit. She threw a blanket down to help out. She used her pan, to help out as well. In our desperate situation, because I'm not a full-on warrior. My character, so we didn't have a full-on warrior. Yet here we are, still having an adventure and fun. But yeah, she was playing like a woman, not like a man. And you all talk, the pagans, not you guys, because I know you're my subscribers, but pagans in the RPGs talk about we're equal. Bull crap. They're erasing women is what they're doing. They're erasing femininity. They're erasing womanhood. They're erasing all of that because they, under the dominion of man, they follow and succor themselves, and the curse of Eve type thing. They want to be a man. They want to act like a man, and that to them is equality. By erasing why God created women. God created women to help men, and we men, being men, whenever a woman helps us, it's the most amazing, best thing ever. If a woman didn't help us, man, we would all turn into psychotic, barbarian, crazed, drug-addled, cold pagan warriors. Killing each other, raping and killing and sodomizing each other. So when a Christian woman comes into the room, we all, whoa, I better clean up, better shape up. This frail, dainty lady is in the room. We better become gentlemen. Okay. And it's a wonderful thing. Okay. For both. Okay, so, look at this. Look at this. He made his own village and it was cool. And we're like, we got to go talk to the dude. And you know, I'm going to ruin the story, but I don't mean to, like, spoil, you know, because you kind of all know. But he had so much going on, and we couldn't really delve into it all because we were trying to one shot it and quickly get through the whole. He wanted us to get to the end, and he, you know, I think in his excitement, and he hasn't DM'd in like years, and he's only been playing RPGs for the last 7-ish years, I think he told me. So he doesn't even have the full-on veteran-y type of thing to him, yet here he is. But yet here he is doing full-on veteran-y type of stuff. And I'm, you know, I'm pushing the accolades of Foil Lord RPG and what I've designed. I don't feel like egotistical in the sense of this game, like, oh, I did it. I feel, and I'm not proclaiming, you know, oh, God told me to do this, or the Holy Spirit is leading me this way, thusly you need to do what I say. I'm not trying to say that either. I just don't feel like even though I just feel like I've discovered something wonderful and I'm trying to show you what it is. I don't feel like I did it, you know. I mean, so I want you all to realize that this to me is a wonderful game, and the pieces, I don't feel like I created it like I'm a genius as much as discovered it. And I'm just trying to show you what I discovered, you know, what I found. Anyway, whatever. I'm going to, you know, just that's someone trying to get that point across badly. But I love that this game has simple stuff like this that you can put together, you know, like a jigsaw puzzle. You can have these pieces, and it's like clay. I was telling him, you can sculpt it and work it. And you don't have to worry about what I did for several years there with D&D 5e and D&D and all that, and D&D and Star Wars RPG, is I kept spending so much time on Google Images looking for stuff. And I was getting like that. I was getting a zombified headache from it, building up over time. And it didn't feel like it was going away. To go and find all these different things to try to make something like this was really getting to me. I like the simplicity of this, that you can kind of just make whatever, and using simple, goofy drawings, and that kind of opens up the imagination so that, you know, you and I can just be free and to do whatever. And I think he felt the freedom in just being able to put together whatever, and then moving on from there, and then going, and then creating his story without worrying about finding the right maps, and the right maps that don't really work together and look all weird and different, you know, and the tokens and everything else look all weird. And I'm not saying, I mean, and I chose the simplest drawing method so that any of you that can draw can just do it too, and it'll fit. And I did the black and white because I wanted it for print easier, you know, easier on the printer ink. Did not want to put a bunch of colors in there, and it made life easier for me because I didn't have to color everything. And then even now it looks so cool because you can tell the difference between the tokens and the characters. I really like that feel. And let me, and story wise, well, I don't need to explain it if I don't have to, but he really delved into an intricate story here. We tried it, and then we got together and put, you know, to cook something. And that's another great thing. It's not just about fighting. It's about getting to the people, trying to appeal to the people, trying to talk to the people. It's such a great role-playing thing that pagans don't do, like Dungeons & Dragons. You don't go and actually talk to the people. I mean, you do, but you only do to get clues and info, right? But in this game, you go to talk to them about the Lord if you can, you know, and if it fails, then okay, fine, we'll go adventure. But you try to like talk to them about the Lord, and right there is a wonderful feeling of trying. Like, you know, the Lord, you know, our Savior, da, da, da. And even if you fail, like they mock you and scoff you, it still feels good. It still feels like you tried something, you know, even though, okay, they don't, you know, but you still it's still a role-playing experience. I'm going to say this too. And I hope Ken doesn't mind, because I really appreciate Ken. And he's a very, you know, personality-wise, he's reclusive or whatever. But he's playing a brother, a priest who preaches and who's social. And so he's trying, you know, and I feel like in this game too, we both kind of came to a revelation that, you know, he's not, and he said it. He said, I'm not, you know, I don't know, I'm not social or whatever. I don't do that. And I'm like, but that's great, because now your character is that, and so you get to work on it. You get to try and do it, and be goofy and fail, and, you know, and baby steps, right? When I do my sword fighting, I hit the pale For 2 years, I hit it very boring. For 2 years, very, very, very boring. For 2 years, right? 2 or 3 times a week spent hitting the Pell in the different positions, you know. Now, without even thinking, I can swing a sword or weapon, you know, fast and furious, and I don't even think about it. It's muscle memory. That's the same with this. That's the same with evangelism. It's the same with what we're doing. We have been brainwashed. We have been lulled by fantasy and by D&D and by RPGs and pagans. We have been lulled. We are in a culture of where the Christian is lulled. This game gets our mindset back into evangelism and into prayer, which I don't do. I don't do those things, and I've never done. I've never been taught to do them. And here I am in this game working it out. And I want to do more, you know, as the player. I want to like keep trying to evangelize. You know, maybe my character dies. Fine. That's fine. Or I failed. It's not a big deal in this game. But yet I can keep trying. You know, in the real world, evangelizing is tough. And if you're not ready, if you're not comfortable, if it's not, you know, just second nature to you, you're going to get beat down quickly, easily by pagans. They're going to mock and scoff you easily. They all they have is lies and deceptions and retorts, which are really quick. The saying is like the truth. By the time the truth wakes up in the morning, the lie has gone around the world. By the time truth wakes up in the morning and gets out of bed, the lie has traveled around the world. It's so easy to lie. It's so easy to throw out firebrand, emotional stuff. It's so easy to do that. What's harder is reasoning, logic, and discussion, and ergo, this game gets us to be a little bit quicker on that, a little bit more natural. And so I'm telling you, begging you, preaching to you, edifying that this game is about helping you evangelize, yet have hilarious fun doing it. You know, I got this character sheet here, and my character, and I got some glory points I spent. He's got a weapon. It's really bad. I gotta clean this up, but it's, and I want to play this dude again, which I don't know when we can, because the scheduling. He happens to have a wife and kids, I mean, my kids are grown up, so, but look at this, man. And you guys, it's just amazing that we get to talk and like in a Christian way, and yet still adventure. So now we want to side with the mayor, leader, chief, and he gives us a mission, and and I was like, I wanted to do other like, evangelism things, but like, we're in a one shot. We got to move on with this mission. We need to get going because he wanted us to finish it. Poor wife was suffering, she was a little sick. He made her play. We had a couple other people that could potentially play, but we just couldn't get them to schedule. And I'll get this. So when we travel along and we encounter a dude, and we didn't just charge him. We were trying to figure out if he was dangerous or not. So that's another thing. We weren't just going to charge and kill him. We were trying to, and the GM had a story, he had a depth to this plot, that was happening that we didn't know. That was cool. And then of course the hunter shows up and kills him actually. And we're like, what? And trying to figure out what's going on. And then of course the Furbolg, that was cool. He studied the Furbolg as an actual race tribe, or, in Ireland. So the original Furbolg. And so, of course in D&D and fantasy, they're creating it as just a monster, just a monster you fight and kill or whatever. I don't know. I forget. Maybe they're a race. But in this, it's a tribe, and they were wearing fur. They were kind of covering themselves in a costume of animal costume, which I discovered. But whatever. So then we go, and he had to hurry it up. So we open up the lock and we go down this cavern. Look at this. He made this whole freaking thing. And we find, of course, the plot unfolding, and the witch and the slaves. And it turns out that the hunter and the chieftain, I'm going to ruin a spoiler here, but it's great. It turns out they were actually sacrificing people to the giant snake from the water. So they, and then the hunter left us there to die or whatever, get attacked by the giant snake. And there's a little temple area, and there's a giant snake. And of course, I went up to fight it, and boom, I roll a nat 1 again. Let me see if it. Come on, I want to zoom to the little nat 1 roll. Boom! What? Oh, look at me. It won't freeze on the frame of the 1, but this is a nat 1. Was that a 1 too? I think that was a 1 too. I can't get the freeze on that frame. But here I am. All I can do is laugh. And I, fall underneath the serpent there. All I can do is laugh and look at the nun and Ken's in disbelief at the idiocy of Theodesred, the fumble guy, the foibles of Theodesred. But Nick was nice enough that he brought down the serpent, and he basically let us win. Which is fine because he's trying to just fulfill his little storyline and he wanted to fulfill it. So he, and he let us just keep kind of rolling and he lowered the and we didn't have a warrior because that's what he made this for. But when we eventually killed the thing, the brother or the huntsman is like, I didn't know, I thought it was a god that you couldn't kill. And then he was, he saw that we defeated it. And that's a thing about missionaries in medieval history. We proved to the pagans that all their gods that they worshipped were just trees, just a beast, just a totem, nothing magical or powerful about them. And we embarrassed them because we did that. And they felt ashamed. And this is what I read. They threw down their altars and all this, and the pagans said, you're going to die from it. And they didn't die from it. And it was nothing to them or to us Christians. So that's what we did. And that's how we spread Christianity across Europe, as best we could. It's still pagans, plenty of paganism. Built schools, hospitals, universities, civilization. And that's the thing. D&D wants to remove civilization and savagery from the lexicon of your words, from your mind. They actually want to remove it from your mind. They're taking those words out so that you don't think that way. They want everything to be gray and average. No good, no evil. Everything is gray. And so if everything is gray, if there's no good and evil, there's no civilization, no savagery, then everything, including pedophilia, is okay. Child sacrifice is okay. It's all gray. It's contextual. It's contextual, right? The genocide of Jews is contextual to the left, to Harvard presidents and the pagans. It's contextual. It's a context. So you got to get out of there. That's my whole proclamation now, my whole ministry, my whole thing. Get out of D&D, get out of the RPGs. If you're a Christian, start doing, I'm just going to say For Lord RPG just to focus. For Lord RPG, look at this. This guy made this entire map by himself with my assets, and he's got his own story. I never, this is the same kind of story in all of the missionary work I've read, but he did it in his own way. And you can do different things as well. You can come up with different things, obviously, and look, just read through history. And you'll get your own, you'll get your kids intrigued by history at that point. Instead of, think about this. Think about that you're studying Greyhawk or what is the other one? Faerun? I don't know, whatever they are. Why would you, all about it. So what? So what? It's nothing. It's a cloud without water, listless air or whatever. What the great in Jude, the book of Jude, he talks about how it's just emptiness. It's nothing to know all, like Star Wars, to know the entire whatever of Star Wars. It's nothing. But this is important. Learning about like missionary work and Christian history and medieval work and what Christians did, it's so important because it matters today. That is being erased and replaced by Star Wars and whatever D&D, Vecna or whatever, all this stuff that matters not. We need to get back to the Christian medieval history and reflect upon that in today's lexicon or context or how we speak to others. And it is wonderful. I'm really enjoying it. I'm like reading this stuff going, I did not know this. And it's just, I'm just enjoying it so much. I'm so enthralled by it all. You know, I've just, gosh, I don't care about the fake stuff anymore. I mean, not really, you know, I care about it if there's a good versus evil, if it's teaching us a lesson. Every story, every fantasy is about a lesson. It's about creating a moral psyche amongst all of us. And they're saying it's just a game, it's just fantasy. No, I disagree. And they even disagree because they want to change the words so that, and someone made a really good point about that. That was one of my YouTube videos I was watching, how if they say it's just fantasy, but why are they changing the words, like taking out civilization, savagery then? Why are they taking those words out? And all of them are like nodding along. Why then are they saying things are offensive in it if it's just a fantasy? They're absolutely believe that it's a tool. Pagans absolutely believe that fantasy is a tool for them, for their agenda. So he was just showing me at the end here, we're talking. So at the end of the video is quite a bit about it. And I just wanted to see how show it. Look at this. He made this whole area. Now the village down below. Actually more if I can show the whole, I don't know if I showed the whole map, but we're just going through there. See, he did this is the whole adventure area. This could have easily have went 3 or 4 sessions. This all of this that he had here. The village down here, we could have delved into that more. You know, he could have had a little thing going on there with something. The trail up here he could have had more ambush or attacks there. When we went to the village, could have been a lot going on there. And then he did have more of the furbolgs that we could have encountered and fought and dealt with, and maybe even come back here. And then when we finally discovered this, you know, going down here, that could have been more. He had more of an encounter here. He could have some guards here, and then this, you know, so that could have been 3 or 4 sessions easily. He could have had something in here, you know, and you know, something even out here, maybe a little island or isle or something. Easily, that would have been, you know, and I think he's going to work on it and delve more into it and create like a supplement for me for the Dark Ages. I mean, for himself or for his own. He's going to own the whole thing, but he's going to. Hopefully he'll have time to just create that. And I told him to make sure he screen captures all these and puts that into the supplement, you know, the game, so you have a. And this is what's cool about this is like, you can create your own maps like this, screen grab it. You know, that's what I do, and then I put it into my supplementals, my PDFs, and there you are. And you can recreate that or something like it. You know, doesn't have to be exact. Obviously, you can create your own thing, but this gives you an idea of what you can create, and or you can just use this. But I always add the tokens, so it's not obviously usable for the GM. So you'd have to recreate it yourself on Foundry or whatever VTT, or you could print all this out. And you know, I mean, obviously you could print out just what you need here, and then just have a forest use whatever, whatever. If you're doing it on a table, you can, it can be very loosey goosey as far as what you use and don't use, and use boxes or playing cards as your buildings or whatever, and have your tokens out, print out the tokens and use those or not. But it's such a simple game system that to me as how long have I been a GM? I've been a DM and GM since I was 10 or less than 10. So I'm 54 now. So 44 years. Oh yeah. Easily 44 years. And when I was a kid, and then even when I skipped it during high school because I was doing the cool high school thing, and I did skip it a bit later on in life. I didn't do D&D 3 or 4, so I did Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and then I moved on to Rollmaster, Middle Earth role playing, Rollmaster, Space Master. I was so into Rollmaster and Space Master and cyberspace and all of ICE, International Crown Enterprises stuff. I was so into their stuff. It was way more in depth, more rules and more in depth, and the charts and all that. And then I created my own homebrews for many years. So I delved into game design. I just was never a part of the culture. I never was in that. I was always New Mexico or Hollywood. So I was never over there on the East Coast where they had all the conventions and knew each other and all that stuff. I never, was never a part of that. So I just did it all on my own, just through their stuff. I was really into it, man. I have some of my older Rollmaster stuff, even like the Pirates one. And when I go through it now, I have so many written notes and tabs in there and all that. I guess my point being, I know a ton about GMing. This game covers it. It covers it all you need, and it doesn't. I don't add fluff. I don't add fluff to the game. It's unnecessary fluff, which is I'm seeing now in a lot of the games. They just have filler text and stuff you don't use as a GM. You know, you might read it. I don't know. For me personally, maybe my brain is full and old and addled. I just don't remember it. Don't care to remember it because I have my own ideas of what I want to do. So all I really want from the game is the outlines, you know, the basic stuff, so that I can build up what I want. And that's why the game is so. The rule. This is rules and GM info. Not just, you know, the actual rules are like there, and then it's done. Oh yeah, then this is all GM. You know, prep work and how, you know, creating the setting. And this is the actual game rules right here. Everything you need. Actually, it's less than that because some of it's intro and the character sheet. And it's all you need. It's very, you know, you don't need a whole lot. And the characters can, like I said, there's no skill list. You create your own skills based on what you're doing. Like the nun, middle of the game, we said, I think she should have a rope skill because she was using the rope a couple times there to helped us out. And so actually she forgot to add some skills. So right then there, I said, well, can we just give her a lasso skill? Because she didn't, at the beginning of the game, she didn't get her 2 free skills. And so she got that. So she lassoed. You know, like in this game is great because you can kind of go in any direction you want with your skills. You create your own skills. So prayer is a skill, but I chose to do warrior's prayer. So I actually pigeonholed myself even more and said, I don't want to just do general prayers. I just want to do warrior prayers, you know? Now, did that matter or not? It does matter to me as the character because I only pray when we go into battle. Or and the prayer isn't about fighting. It's just about you know, helping us accomplish, you know, defend the victims, defend the helpless, you know, defend ourselves. It's kind of like that kind of warrior's prayer. Do the righteous thing, but it's only meant for combat. Like I don't do prayers generally. I'm not good at it. Kind of a character. But that was a great game, and I'm just gonna push on all of you that you Christians who are role playing, please, you gotta, you know, maybe not immediately, but you gotta start thinking about this. You gotta start removing yourself even from, you know, oh, I should play with the pagans, you know, that play at the game stores. No, actually, no, you shouldn't. And the reason is that they're gonna make you compromise because you're not ready yet, and I'm not ready yet. We're not ready yet to sit at the table with pagans and then put our faith into it. You know why? Because they're going to kick us out. They'll just kick us out. No big deal. You know, that's that threat. That's the threat of kicking us out. If you're not allowed to evangelize in the game. Why? Why not? They're evangelizing. Every character is pagan and evangelizing paganism. They all got worship a different god. They worship and they perform their pagan things. They do their good works and heroics and get their treasure. And then level up and become more powerful, almost godlike, right? The goal of a pagan is to be a god themselves. So you notice it when they play it. They act very arrogantly as they get up in levels. Very arrogantly, very powerful. They get 80 hit points, 90 hit points, 100 hit points, 7 actions. They're not heroic. They're gods. They're pretending to be gods. That's what paganism is all about. I'm the god. I get to decide what's good and bad. And if I decide pedophilia is good, then it's good. That's what they're doing. They want to be the God. We Christians know there's only one God, and we don't want to be a God, and we don't want to be a God over other people. And they don't want us to do that in the game. That's offensive to them. So my point being, you need to get out of those games as soon as you can, and you need to start doing For the Lord games, For the Lord RPG games. And start and with Christians. Find other Christians. Find Christians that never played RPGs. This game is easy enough. You don't explain to them how to play it. Just ask them to come, give them a character, and do it for them. Like do the rules, and they'll get it. They'll pick it up as they play. You don't have to explain it. Just like you can in general terms you can explain it, or in general terms you can explain they're gonna be stuck with you for 3 hours, and and they can have a beer and chips or whatever. But you gotta get Christians together. When you guys all are getting better and better at it, and same with me, when we get better and better at this, we can then start taking this out to the game stores or conventions, but not until you and I get better at it. And it becomes second nature to us. You know, it's just right there in our psyche. The evangelism, the bravado of Christianity, the courage, the outward courage. We need that. So I'm just going to keep preaching this over and over on my videos because I'm so excited about it. And I'm getting more and more clarity with it now. Yeah. So I'll keep talking because I love it. Anyway, I better stop, and I got some work to do because we got Christians in Space today. And I got to go get a second microphone. It's here. It's raining out there, though. All right. Merry Christmas. It's a wonderful time of the year. We're doing our karaoke Christmas carols. Just having a good time with that, and the wife and I, and our daughters are grown up. So our Christmas is it's not as like children-y anymore. And they don't have, they're 25 and 19. So they're in that, hopefully they won't have grandkids. Well, wife's ready, but I'm not. I just want, I'm going to be the curmudgeon. Kids, man, young kids just zap me of energy. And I remember it very vividly, very much, and I just don't want to be zapped anymore with sucked out of energy from little kids. But the wife, see, the women, fine with them. Men is like, I only have so much energy and I can't let them touch me. But the wives just want to go and hug them and play with, spend time with them and whatever. I'm like, oh. I mean, I don't have grandkids, but I have nieces and nephews nieces rather. And then whenever other little kids come around, I just don't want to hang out with them because it's, just because of my energy level. They get, anyway. All right. Merry Christmas. And in the, what is my thing again? In the game of life, roll holy dice.